The holiday edition of the Roundtable is ready to go. Joining us this morning, Democratic political analyst Marianne Marsh and Republican political analyst and baseball tie-wearing Rob Gray. It's great to have you with us. It's a perfect kickoff to the summer weekend, by the way. Dylan Fernandez just sat in the chair. Do you anticipate a run for a higher office soon, Marianne?
Dylan's got a very bright future, but I think everyone's fate on the Cape, if you're an elected official, hangs on what Bill Keating does. So everyone expects him to run for re-election in 2024. We'll see what happens after that.
Rob, what do you think?
Well, Bill Keating had to wait until he was, I think, almost age 60 to get elected to Congress in the first place. So Dylan Fernandez might have to wait a while, too.
All right, the aftershocks of Rachel Rollins' resignation continue. Boston City Councilor Ricardo Arroyo refusing to step down for his role in the scandal. And he wasn't shy about putting the blame on Rollins. Take a listen.
Do I think that her stepping down was appropriate? Yes. Do I think that what she did was unethical? Yes. Not saying that I did that.
All right. Well, he points to ethics there, but not his own. Do you think the calls for his resignation will grow louder, Marianne?
Ricardo's texts make clear that he is asking Rachel Rollins for help as the U.S. attorney to help his campaign for DA. And he, in his text says, quote, "Are y'all announcing an investigation into the situation with Hayden? Would be the best thing I can have happen at this moment," end quote. So it's clear he's looking for that help. And that is on him. It is undeniable. It's not whether she's his friend or not. He asked that because she was the U.S. attorney. Michelle Wu is right. There's an election in a few months to determine whether he should serve or not. His constituents deserve better than Ricardo Arroyo.
All right, Rob.
Well, and as bad as those texts are, it may be much worse because there are hours of phone calls logged between the two of them, and there are encrypted texts that the investigators for the Justice Department couldn't get access to. I imagine the content of those is just as bad. Let's face it, they were trying to frame an elected official during an election to get him out of office. It's bad stuff.
At the very least, it appears there were some ethical lines crossed, at the very least.
To Rob's point, it's more than that.
But here's the thing, it's sad. It's sort of quieted down quite a bit. You know, it was big news, and it's quieted down. So will he pay the price? I don't really know.
Is that a product of the calendar, or is that a product of people's interest in it, in all honesty?
I mean, I think people are numb on ethics, in part due to Donald Trump, and it's a shame because this is one of the biggest scandals in the history of the Justice Department.
In the media, frankly. I mean, everyone now, every political person or official or other saying, I can just write it out because who's going to follow up? Nobody's going to cover it. That's the end of that.
We turn now to presidential politics. Ron DeSantis went viral while making his formal announcement with Elon Musk on Twitter, but not for the reasons he had hoped. Take a look.
So they just keep crashing, huh?
Yeah, I think we've got just a massive number of people online, so it's servers are straining somewhat.
And the president.
It is rather shocking in 2023 that a system would be shocked by that, but here we go. More of an engineering problem than a political one, obviously. Will it quickly be forgotten, Rob, or will it dog him for the rest of the campaign?
Well, the good news is it's not really an image. It's not like he wore a tank helmet like Mike Dukakis.
Okay.
But I think it will fade because once you're in the pool, people don't remember if you got in there via belly flop or a perfect swan dive. So I think it'll fade for DeSantis.
It's a political failure, and here's why. When you announce a campaign for anything, the day you announce is the one day you control. You don't control anybody else. You decide when, where, how, with whom, what it's going to look like, what you're going to say. So what does it say about DeSantis' judgment that he picks Elon Musk, a dictator in making, whose rockets and cars don't work? And are you surprised Twitter doesn't work and nobody sees you? They don't hear you. It goes on for 25 minutes. And when they finally hear you, you're talking about accreditation cabals or something like that. Like, it makes no sense. So I think we continue to see the real Ron DeSantis, and it doesn't look good for him in the end.
All right. At the State House, a push to drop the MCAS as a graduation requirement and end state receiverships of schools. Teachers, unions, students, parents, they called for lawmakers to pass what's called the Thrive Act. It would stop the state from putting schools into receivership. It would also base graduation requirements on coursework rather than MCAS scores. Governor Healy says she is taking a closer look at both issues. What should she do, Rob?
She should do just what she did on the teachers union's last money grab, which is the right to strike. She pushed back, rightly so. She should do it on this too. This is worse. They're trying to grab our kids' future from them. Let's remember, education reform was bipartisan in the 1990s. Democrats and Republicans work together to get an exam, a minimum standard of graduation. That's why Massachusetts diploma matters. I think Maura Healey realizes that.
What do you think, Marianne?
MCAS has failed. Find a better vehicle. Whether it's common curriculum and, qualifications on that or something else, find that. And we know receivership doesn't work. It has never worked. Holyoke, Springfield, Lawrence, Southbridge. I mean, Holyoke's been in it for 8 years trying to get out. It's always 8 years and they're no better. Stop it. Make people do your job.
Teachers don't want accountability. That's why they're trying to do this. They don't want accountability.
Make the mayor, make the school committee, make the town manager, make them do your job. Do your job.